welcome back to Mrs. Wright's bookshelf. I have a long letter by Elizabeth Spur and illustrated by David Catrow. Actually, you should get a good look at this. The long letter. My mother got a postcard from Aunt Hetta. It read, "Sister dear, don't you owe me a letter?" She received a second message. "I've had no mail for a dog's age." A third, in bold calligraphy, said, "Have you quite forgotten me?" "Land o'-lovin'," sighed my mother. "Why, just last month I wrote her. Poor woman must be lonely way out there in the boonies, with no kith nor kin to care for. She has too much time to fret. I'd better write a long letter, one she will not forget." My mother sat down at her pine-topped desk to write. With a fine-plumed pen, she looped and scrolled morning, noon, and into night. She badly burned the dinner. It was a long letter. She wrote through fall and winter, into spring and summer. The days grew warmer, longer. I grew taller, stronger. It was a long letter. She wrote of cabbages and crocuses, sausages and shoes, the newly born, the price of corn, the cranking phone she'd never use, of darning socks and scouring pots, broken clocks and knitting knots. She wrote of all the chores she had no time to do, thanks to the long letter. One day after breakfast, she said, "Let us mail the letter. There's still so much to tell her, but I've no more ink nor paper." We put the letter into boxes and hauled it in a wagon. We gave it to the postman, who stuck 1,000 stamps on it. It was a long letter. On the way to the train station, a whirlwind came from nowhere. It whipped the tops right off the boxes. Swoosh went Aunt Hetta's letter. Whoosh! The pages scattered. It was an all-gone letter. Aunt Hetta lived a crooked mile from the town of Neverby. The townsfolk rarely passed her way, much less passed the time of day with tea and friendly chatter, and none had sent a cheery word by way of word or a card or letter. She was a lone Hetta. By her mailbox sat Aunt Hetta. She sat in her carved rocker with a pocket full of crackers and a pot of peanut butter. She watched and rocked around the clock from Monday until Sunday, waiting for the pleasure of a letter from my mother. She rocked in fall and winter, through the spring and summer. The days again grew shorter, but there was no long letter. She pleaded with the postman, just a small one or a thin one. Oh, she longed for any letter. What's happened to her now? She ate peanut buttered crackers to kill the pangs of hunger, but her heart still ached and hungered for a letter. Where was the missive from her sister? How could it have missed her? She kept a hawk's watch on the mailbox since a year ago, September. December storm clouds gathered. Aunt Hetta watched and shivered. The wind howled loud and bitter. The dark skies dumped a blizzard. It was the wrong weather to sit waiting for a letter. In her fringed shawl, Hetta huddled, bone-chilled and befuddled. White flakes danced around her. Soon all was covered over. Mailbox, rocker, peanut butter, and of course, Aunt Hetta. All was silent. All was still. Then slowly, from a whitened hill, peeked the head of, yes, Aunt Hetta. She was beaming like the sun and staring cross-eyed at her letter. One evening over tea, my mother read to me a fat letter from Aunt Hetta. You might say that I had been a bit under the weather. I thought it was a snowstorm, but it was your airmail letter. Such a long letter. The town was in a dither. It took 3 days to gather with snowplows and a tractor. I am told that midst the rumpus, the postman said, "Great Zeus's thunder, what's become of Hetta Pincus? She was sitting by her mailbox. She must be 6 feet under." Through the vineyards, through the groves, the townsfolk rushed in droves. Headed by the doctor and followed by the preacher, posse for emergency was coming out to rescue me. Plain to see, catastrophe draws good folks together. I felt like a celebrity instead of a non-entity. Life looked a lot brighter. I said thank you to my rescue team. Your concern is flattering, but I've suffered no great harm. My sister's letter kept me warm. As the townsfolk shoveled, the postman winked and chuckled. That's what I'd call riding up a storm. 50 children stacked the pages. You forgot to number. They piled them in the haymow, stored them in the silo. They filled the spring house and the mill, the granary and the still. It was a long letter. I planned to sit down with your letter, catch up on the news, but in the discombobulation of my recent situation, I have lost my spectacles. I cannot read your long letter. 50 children have been rummaging through attic, house, and cellar looking for my glasses. But perhaps it doesn't matter. For now I have 100 eyes. But best of all, I realize this town is filled with caring friends. I'll never feel alone again, thanks to your long letter. And that's the end. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.